So I think, yeah, an interesting question that I got asked recently was a client talking to me about how to overcome um, essentially what essentially self-doubt, um, how to get out of your own way. And I thought it was kind of a really interesting question because it relates not only to fitness. There are times in a gym where you're asked to lift a certain weight and you tell yourself immediately, I can't do that. The reality is the second that you say, I can't do that, you're not going to be able to do it. It's just that straightforward. Um, the second that you don't think you can do something, the likelihood is you're not going to be able to do it. Uh, and that's not just in fitness, that's in life as well. But I think it's interesting for people who have achieved the most in life. They are the top level, the absolute most successful people in the world, through to people like myself who have our own businesses and are building successful businesses, have successful fitness regimes, people who are successful actors, successful writers, people who are successful in financial jobs, people who are successful, whatever, all the way through to people who are just starting out in their careers maybe, or just starting out in a fitness program, or I've just finished drama school, right? And they're just going out into the big industry. The message really is still the same. If you tell yourself you can't do it, you won't do it. It is that straightforward. But I think it's important to say that people at all levels of success suffer with self-doubt. Like, I don't mind admitting that I spend every single day at work, whether it be the majority of the time, in my capacity as CEO of Bond Fitness, running a gym, managing staff, training people at a high level, you know, organizing and doing the work to create a second Bond Fitness location, whatever it might be, holding meetings with, new staff members, holding meetings with my mentor, holding meetings with new clients. Or whether it be, walking into a studio, a drama school to teach acting, whether it be, you know, running a workshop for a play that I've written with professional actors and directors, whatever the context, I feel like an imposter. Like, in everything that I do, I have imposter syndrome. Absolutely across the board. And imposter syndrome is just another form of self-doubt. But again, it comes down to that awareness, right? It comes down to the awareness because I've spent so much time thinking about self-doubt and thinking about mental health and thinking about my own processes. Um, I'm able to become aware that that negative voice is going to stop me. There's no way I'm going to have a successful play reading if I'm spending the entire time saying, it's shit, I'm shit, I can't do it. There's no way I'm going to be able to help the client that has come in order to change their life to believe that Bond Fitness is the right place for them to do so. And by the way, it is the right place. But if I keep letting my imposter syndrome win, that client is not going to believe that we're the right place. They're going to go away. They're not going to join up. And ultimately, they're not going to change their life. And I'm not going to change my life. I'm not going to keep growing Bond Fitness, all because of a thought in my head that says, you're not good enough. You're not you're not a CEO. You're not a fitness entrepreneur. You're not an acting teacher. You're not a writer. You're not an actor. You're not a husband. You're not a father. All of these things that I'm sure we all can relate to. It's the awareness that when that thing starts, you catch it. Now, I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy most of my life. My therapist would say that all of these thoughts, even these negative thoughts, are trying to serve a purpose. They've just gone wrong somewhere along the line. So you kind of go, well, what's this voice trying to protect me from, right? What's the voice worried about? Well, the voice is worried that I'm going to fail. That's really what it is, I think. That's what this self-doubt is all about. I don't want you to fail, so don't even bother. Don't try. You can't do it. Don't try. Working in fitness, you realize that failure is actually what you're trying to achieve. Without failure, there is no success, right? There's a very cheesy version of a line of that in the new Brad Pitt Formula One movie. But without failure, there is no success. So The thing that I find really, really interesting is when you learn that in the gym, you're trying to lift weights to a point where you cannot lift them anymore, aka you fail. And that is how you build strength and that is how you grow. You can link that to everything. Without failure, there's no success. So I need to get rid of the fear of failure, which I think I have been able to do in a lot of cases. And that helps to dissipate that voice. It helps to lessen that voice in my head. So I can actually turn around and go, hey, thank you for that. Thank you for worrying about me. Thank you for being protective of me. But it's cool. I've got this. I don't need you right now. And then I can put that tiny little voice to the side. And it's still going to scream and it's still going to shout and it's still going to try and tell me that I can't. But then I'm going to sit down, and then there's another voice, a kinder, wiser, more compassionate voice that says, you know what? You actually are a CEO. You actually do run your own gym. You actually do have a wealth of acting experience. You actually have written plays. All of this stuff, which is in direct contrast to the voice that says you can't do it. And sometimes that voice is really quiet and really pressed down, but you listen to it. You tell yourself that you're not an imposter. You're not a failure. And you actually, it's as simple as saying, you know what? If your voice says, I can't do it, you tell that voice, yes, I can. And a really easy way to do that is when you're in the gym next time and you get given a weight and you hear that voice say, oh, I can't lift that. And a lot of times I see my clients and they actually say it out loud. Oh, I can't lift that. Replace that with yes, I can. Or even easier, another step before that, I'm going to try. I'm going to try because I deserve somebody to try for me. You deserve somebody to try on your behalf. So it might as well be you. Self-doubt will stop you. The second you say you can't do something, you won't be able to do it. And I'm no positive thinking guru, but I know that as a fact, and it goes for everything. Before your audition, your next audition, you're standing outside the room and you hear all those actors in there and you go, they're way better than me. I can't ace this audition. You definitely won't. But if you tell yourself, yeah, I'm gonna smash this. I am right for this part. Before your next job interview, I'm perfect for this job. Before you next pick up the heavy weight, I can lift that. Before you next sit down to interview staff, I'm a good boss. Before you next play with your kid, I'm a great dad. Whatever it is, back yourself up. And I'm betting right now the results are going to be a hell of a lot better.